Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with Willie Coming Around. We've made it through a couple parts of the round so far. Keep on trucking. Kicking things off, we've got Death of the Venom-Verse number 5. Where we left off, Carnage symbiote had managed to overcome Anti-Venom and escape to another Earth. With the plan seemingly to take on Null. So we open at a Venom safe house. The surviving Venoms are trying to figure out what to do. Dylan is working on repairing the dimensional transport. And they're trying to figure out a plan. But in the reality that Carnage has traveled to, he's fighting Null while during the King in Black invasion. The gathered heroes are kind of watching, like, they're kind of just be like, what do we do? Celestials show up. Carnage does make short work of the assembled heroes of that particular Earth, as well as the Celestials. The Venoms arrive, realizing that Earth's pretty much done for. However, Valkyrie picks up the discarded Mjolnir of the recently killed Thor of that Earth, and she's doubled up weapon-wise, and she's also got her sword. Null also goes after the various Venoms with, even though they are trying to protect him from Carnage, but Carnage gets Null. And additional Venom reinforcements show up and are, for the most part, pretty quickly dispatched by the King of Carnage, including Toxin. And the Venoms retreat. And Carnage states that she sent them home, sent them away. Dead, alive, she returned them all to their graves. Back at the safe house, Anne reflects on the death of Toxin, or of, not Toxin, I don't remember what that particular, the armored Venom was called, but it does appear that she's trying to come up with a new way to stop Carnage. But that's where the primary story ends. And we've got our backups. First off, final escape on another Earth. Venom and Carnage are duking out at ESU, but Carnage is using an old trick on Venom so that after dropping after causing a chandelier to fall, cranking up the sound system of the room of the building they're in so that the symbiote is not as useful and, well, Eddie's straining. But manages to pull through and continues to fight Carnage. Elsewhere, Professor Healy activates his machine. Though it explodes, and he dies in Eddie's arms. Eddie swings off into the night. The story was, and with Eddie making himself accept that they can't save everyone. All they can ever do is try. Then we've got Kid Venom, the final chapter of Kid Venom. The bear has been returned to its family. Clinter's host helps reunite the bear with his family, as well as sending a note home to Raiko-san. In Kyoto, at the house of Minamoto Raiko. Raiko reads the letter and says that he must prepare immediately. Also where the story ends, for now at least. So Death of the Venom-Verse was pretty good. I have to admit I was surprised. I kind of expected Carnage to be defeated to the point of being back to needing a human host, or at least losing all of its recently gained advantages. Kind of surprised it didn't. Guess we'll see how that all plays out in the upcoming the next upcoming Carnage ongoing. Moving on to our next book, we've got Spider-Man India number 4. Where we left off, Puppeteer had taken a job at Jury Corp, posting videos online of Spider-Man making a fool of himself, which he himself made. And but one came up that he didn't make. This one showed someone, a Spider-Man impersonator, assaulting an old man, and Puppeteer refused. Basically discovered his conscience and was called forth to speak with the CEO. But he refused and had to deal with some goons by hiding in the bathroom. Elsewhere, Nana's trying to figure out whether or not she's doing the right thing. Sure, she needs to provide for her brother, since her mother's dead and her father's not around. But is she doing the right thing to do so? But Yashika comes by, clearly frustrated at Puppeteer. Nana sees the goons going after Puppeteer in the bathroom and dragging him out. He's taken up to the top floor, and along the way in the elevator, Puppeteer shoots some web at the feet of one of the goons, so he trips as they walk out of the elevator. But Puppeteer meets Giri Sahib again, and Apparently, Sahib has a video of Puppeteer from seemingly when he was experimented on by Dr. Kumar at the beginning of the series. Sahib wants whatever the energy emanating from Puppeteer for himself. Puppeteer tries to leave, and Lizard's waiting outside for him. And Sahib buffs up, and Puppeteer has to deal with both Sahib and the Lizard. Back in portion of the city that Puppeteer lives, which is the part of the city that Sahib wishes to destroy for his Liberty Tower, it is being demolished. Naina manages to appropriate Yashika's ID card, uses it to get to the top floor. But as she gets out of the elevator doors open as Lizard's throwing Puppeteer through Sahib's office door. Dana pulls the fire alarm, allowing Puppeteer to change into a Spider-Man costume. Manages to save Nana, but and the fight continues between Spider-Man, Sahib, and Lizard. As Puppeteer's aunt tries to get a hold of him, she sees a large crowd of people coming her way. Many of them wearing Spider-Man-inspired masks and holding up signs saying "Geary out" or "Spider stays." And, yeah. Spider-Man is dealing with his two villains as best he can, but is eventually knocked out by the Lizard, but by a sleeper hold. Though Sahib is now pretty well. Gas Spider-Man doesn't get Puppeteer, and Lizard leaps out of the building and head to his lab with Spider-Man as Geary Corp's demolition crews are being attacked by the throng of people in Puppeteer's home, the area of the city that Puppeteer calls home. It's really interesting. This is apparently, I believe, the next to last issue. In many ways, Sahib feels like a combination of Norman Osborn and J. Jonah Jameson. So I wonder if there's a further villain he's being combined with, but I guess we'll see. There's also a revelation that Sahib and Dr. Kumar went to school together and were close friends. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Ultimate Invasion number 4. Where we left off, Howard Stark had been a potential new ally against the Maker. Man in an iron mask named Reed Richards. But this masked man is a prisoner of the Maker. The two of them are working on making an Immortus engine. They managed to pull it off, and now there are two. But Howard wants to help Reed escape, but Reed states that you can't run from who you are. Also seems that there's a part of the Maker's memory that's missing. But Howard brings the Immortus engine to the Maker. Though while that's going on, Reed is planning charges throughout the building, taking out one of the defenses and allowing Kang and his army of superhumans to attack. Iron Man fights, well, both sides. But we get a knockdown drag out between Kang and the Maker. Howard still has the Immortus engine. But the Maker now remembers Kang, and Kang takes the both of them. We cut to their past in the far future. Howard manages to seemingly stop both Kang and the Maker, and take out Kang's army of superhumans. The Immortus engine is then removed, and even Howard Stark's armor was badly damaged. But the city is Reed leaves the city with the Immortus engine while the people watch from afar. Inside the city, the remaining council members are debating what to do. There's never been a point where the Maker's been gone this long. One thing that is brought up is that there's no one that runs America now. Seem to agree is on a kind of need to just wait and see what happens stance. But Reed arrives at Stark Tower, giving the Immortus engine to young Tony, helping him build an armor. Tony wants to be a hero, and when the armor's complete, him and Reed start working on a name. Reed's just Iron Man, like Tony's father, but Tony instead decides on Iron Lad. At least until he's earned a better name. We have an epilogue. Reed and Tony travel back in time a bit. Seems to be the Arctic, where they find Captain America frozen in the ice. And that is where the series ends. This will pick up next month in Ultimate Universe. I presume that was what Marvel solicits for last minute is listed as being classified. So that looks to be a miniseries setting up a brand new Ultimate Universe. We'll see if that goes anywhere or not. But interesting. Very Hickman. Maybe not Hickman's best, but I mean it's not House of X. It ain't House of X, but you know, it's still good. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Miracleman: The Silver Age, number 6. It's been a minute since we've had an issue of this. Presumably, the usual delays that occur came up. So where we left off, Dickie Dauntless, formerly Young Miracleman, had left Miracleman and gone off into the world, where he had encountered various people, including a young enhanced woman named Metamaid, who has become Dickie's traveling companion. At the end of the last issue, they ended up at the orphanage that Dickie grew up in after World War II. The issue begins with Miracleman trying to figure out where Dickie's gone. At the orphanage, when Dickie and Metamaid arrived, basically it unlocked the memories of Dickie's time there, and he has collapsed while Metamaid takes care of him. So we see what his time there was like. Suffice to say, it was not pleasant. Get a description of how things were run. Upon arrival, their pasts were torn from them. What little possessions he had, a picture of his mom, and a Gilbert Sullivan record were taken by woman in charge. Everything was taken away. Money too, if you had any, for safekeeping, only given out when you needed it. Or so Miss Mall claimed, though Dickie states that the kids never saw any of it. They were given dull uniforms, schooling in the local town, though they weren't allowed to mix with other children. Frequently, Dickie would look out the window in class, imagining his mom hadn't died, that she'd drive up in a big car to take him away. But that never happened. But things are a bit sinister. Apparently, some of the boys, as they grew older, were rented out by Miss Mall's husband to local rich people, usually for a day trip. Eventually, Dickie was among them. Then one day, he was brought before another man, a scientist. What was it? Dr. Gargunza. Who just basically, gave him a medical exam. No funny business. But Miss Mall Gargunza gave him a shilling, and initially Miss Mall took it, but then decided to allow Dickie to go out and get some fish and chips. She did, though. Shortly after getting them, he was kidnapped and thrown in the back of a car, then becoming young Miracleman. He regains consciousness. Metamaid helps him lay down on one of the beds, holding him, trying to take care of him. And she asks if she can kiss him. And they kiss, and said it was no one ever asked before. They never kissed a girl before. But after a while, Dickie realizes it's time to talk to him, to Miracleman. And he says Miracleman's name and transforms into young Miracleman. And that is where the issue ends. This is also the next to last issue of the series. Not entirely sure when the next one will come out, but we'll see. So far, it's been damn good. Neil Gaiman, kind of expected. Moving on to our last book for the moment, we've got Void Rivals number 4. Where we left off, Derek and Solila were heading back to the Great Ring. Solila took control of their ship, knocked out Derek, and changed the course of the ship to the Zertonian side. Transmitting the necessary codes, but Derek's palm computer can rudimentarily control Derek's body. The circumstances that Solilo's put him in, however, have made it to where all he can really do is surrender, and so he does. But Derek is turned over to the Zertonians. Solila speaks with their leader. Apparently, the plan is to trade Derek to his people, the Argorians, for needed resources. Elsewhere on Cybertron, the scavenger who found Derek and Solila earlier has shown up with the Quintesson he had prisoner, with the intention of selling it to Shockwave. However, Shockwave is doing what he can to keep it, to support his with what currency he has to help his people, and basically tells the scavenger to get lost and take the Quintesson with him. But the leader of the Zertonians is talking with Solila about what happened, and he ends up asking if she saw his face. In Derek's cell, he and his palm computer are talking, and he's being reassured that, yeah, you're probably, whatever the plan is treating you well is part of it, at least for now. But the door opens and Solila is promptly thrown in, and she explains that the Premier knew that they're practically the same under their helmets. And that they'd seen each other's faces. The Premier then takes off his helmet, contacts the Argorian leader, Derek's son, to explain that, hey, your son was brought to us as a potential prisoner, but he knows the truth. We're going to have to execute. So, what should we do? And Derek's father basically says, well, Derek was lost me long ago. Do what you will. And that is where the issue ends. We've also got the Transformers preview pages in here, but it's the same ones as last month, with Spike stumbling upon the Ark. So far, things are getting very interesting in the Venom-Verse, and next week they're going to get even more interesting with Transformers number 1 dropping. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Big shout out to Patreon patrons Xander Lee. Thank you so much for your support. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.